Good evening. Today we'll be talking about vitamins. Vitamins actually got their name because they were considered to be vital to life. And to this day, they are still vital to life. And therefore, the name vitamin, the root of the word vita, means vital. These are compounds that are considered to be very much important to our health and our well-being. They affect multiple organ systems of the body, and if for any reason they are deficient, there can be serious adverse effects, including mortality. Let's take a look at our learning objectives for this evening. At the end of our talk, you should be able to describe the history of vitamins, how are they classified, their roles and function, how are they absorbed and digested, and a special group of vitamins known as antioxidants and how they affect free radicals, and also to list or describe some common sources of vitamins. So let's get on the way. So vitamins are organic compounds and they do not, unlike our macronutrients, they do not provide the body with any amount of energy. They are usually required in small amounts and they mainly function to regulate metabolism, so in the energy production pathway, so the Krebs cycle or the glycolytic pathway, they help to convert energy in fat, carbohydrate, and protein into the useful currency known as adenosine triphosphate, which the body uses to propel all its activity. They also promote growth and reproduction. And so in early childhood years, vitamins are very important. The B vitamins, vitamin C, of course, folic acid, and many others are very important in the reproduction process. As I've said before, any kind of deficiency can lead to potentially serious consequences uh, from these vitamins. Again, they're vital to life. So, what's behind vitamins? The disease related to the deficiency in foods that help were recognized long before the vitamin was discovered. So if you think about the story that is told about sailors in World War II that were out on the ship, and they recognized that they were getting red blotches on their skin, and they were just not keeping good health. They had bleeding gums. Um, they oftentimes were weak, and so they wondered what might be causing this. It was later found out that these sailors were deficient in vitamin C, and this recommendation for that was that they would get limes and they would take limes or citrus fruits out at sea and squeeze that into their mouth at their given meal time. And hence these sailors were dubbed or named limeys. Since that time, James Lynn, Kashmir Funk, and others who have found different vitamins, uh, they have become invaluable in or aim to reduce public health deficiency or public health diseases. In the 1940s, the government of the United States mandated that vitamins be added to grains and milk through fortification or enrichment processes, mainly to improve or safeguard against deficiencies. Scientists today are now focusing on how these vitamins might be useful in preventing diseases. So when you think about the antioxidants, vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, there are many research projects that have looked on how these might influence health from cardiovascular health to chronic non-communicable diseases. These are considered important vitamins. So each vitamin um, is called a vitamin, and then it is given a letter of the alphabet in which it describes where it is or the order in which it was founded. So the first vitamin to be found was vitamin A. And then we have B, C, D, E, and K. They are uh, notable reasons why vitamin F, G, and H were dropped, and that's because they pretty much represents other compound or minerals that were already utilizing this name. I don't know why they didn't do it with K, because K represents potassium, but again, it's vitamin K. B had many subscript because of the similarity in function of the multiple B vitamins. And so we didn't call one B and then the other C, but rather B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B12. Okay? So that's just a little bit of the naming history of the vitamins. So F, G, and H were dropped and they went from E all the way to K. When is a compound classified a vitamin? They're classified as a vitamin if the body cannot make enough of it to ward off or to prevent deficiency, to meet its metabolic needs. If there is chronic deficiency as a result of a lack of this particular substance, then it is considered vital and therefore a vitamin. If the symptoms will disappear once the vitamin level in the body is restored, then that is evidence to suggest that this is a vitamin, because it does help in terms of restoring the body to natural or normal functionality. There were 13 compounds that meet the criteria above, and hence we have 13 vitamins. These vitamins are classified into water soluble and fat soluble vitamins. So there are 8 water soluble, all the B vitamins and vitamin C, and then there are 4 fat soluble. We call it for short ADEC. What influences how the vitamins are classified? It's mainly their solubility, right? So the fat soluble vitamins are soluble in a fat medium, which is important for its digestion, absorption, transportation, storage, and excretion. And the water soluble vitamins are soluble in water, which is important for its digestion, absorption, transportation, storage, and excretion from the body. So if you think about passing out excess vitamin that are water soluble, you think about those being passed out in urine, and your excess fat soluble are usually stored for a longer time, but can also be passed out in the stool. Vitamins at their core contain carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And some vitamins do contain nitrogen and sulfur. So pretty similar makeup to your other macronutrients that we have looked on before. And the chemical structure of each of the vitamin is unique, meaning no two vitamins are alike, even though they contain the basic core elements of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. They are formed differently. They are usually not broken down when consumed, so they are absorbed intact, and they perform, as I've said, numerous essential functions. So let's take a look at this table. And in this table, we have on the left side, if you look over here, you'll see that we have metabolic functions, and these include antioxidants, blood clotting, and red blood cell synthesis, bone health, energy, growth and reproduction, as well as immune function and protein metabolism. And on the right of that list, you will see the various vitamins that facilitate or play those roles. So let's take a look at, for example, immune function. It is noted that vitamin A, C, and D are important for immune function as it relates to the human health. Water soluble vitamins are again absorbed by water, and fat soluble vitamins are absorbed using medium of fat. This therefore suggests that the place in the gastrointestinal tract that they are absorbed is going to be different. So, for example, fat soluble vitamins are absorbed in the duodenum. They are stored. Vitamin A is stored in the liver. Vitamin K and E are partially stored in the liver. And vitamin D is mainly stored in the muscle and fat cells. You can have a buildup of your fat soluble vitamins because they are not excreted from the body on a daily basis, because again, of their method of absorption, and so they tend to store and can lead to toxicity over time. Water soluble vitamins, on the other hand, are absorbed with water and enter directly into the bloodstream. Most is absorbed in the duodenum and the jejunum, and most are not stored in the body, meaning that if you consume an excess amount of water soluble vitamin than the body actually needs in a given day, the body will pass that out through the kidney in the form of urine on a daily basis. So therefore it is important that to meet the recommended dietary allowance for vitamin, sufficient amount are consumed every day. If there is excess, there can be some disadvantages. The body does have a mechanism which is to pass that out to prevent a buildup of your water soluble vitamin. However, there can be excess amount of vitamins in the water soluble vitamins, and that can give some adverse effects. Take a minute to look on the diagram on the screen. It talks about the three parts of digestion and absorption of vitamins. The first part is that usually vitamins are attached to the proteins and are released in the stomach. So when we consume our vitamins, they are usually transported in a bound form to protein, and then in the small intestine, the fat soluble vitamins are transported into the intestinal cells as a part of micelles. And remember what micelles are. This is like a fatty emulsion of a mixture of fat and now or fat soluble vitamins. Once inside intestinal cells, the fat soluble vitamins are packaged with fat and other lipids into a chylomicron, and the chylomicron is a compact transport system that travels through the lymph system to the main circulation, where these these fat soluble vitamins now become available to the body. The water soluble vitamins are directly absorbed into the portal vein from the small intestine, intact and then available for the cells as they are needed. So just an overview. In the stomach, you have vitamins and protein bound, and then these are unbounded or unattached. It goes into the small intestine, where for your fat soluble vitamins, they are combined into the micelles, then chylomicron, then into the portal vein. And for your water soluble vitamins, they go directly into the portal vein without any interference or without passing through the lymphatic lacteal system, as we would see with your fat soluble vitamins. In the case of our water soluble vitamin, if there is excess, it is excreted through the kidneys in the form of urine, but we know that our body tends to store our fat soluble vitamins either in the liver, either in the adipose tissues, or in the muscle. So if you take a look at them, and if I were to ask you to differentiate between the absorption of water soluble vitamins and fat soluble vitamins, some of the things you would note is that water soluble goes directly into blood as opposed to fat soluble that goes through lymph, and they are generally toxic. This is your fat soluble vitamins, whereas your water soluble vitamins are not generally toxic because they're not stored by the body in any excess. Again, because of the fat component, fat soluble vitamins are going to be hydrophobic, water faring, and water soluble vitamins are going to be hydrophilic, water loving. In terms of your bioavailability of the vitamins, in terms of available to the body to utilize, it depends on the amount that is in the food, how the food is prepared, because Some preparation practices, like exposing it to high temperatures, can destroy the vitamins, particularly the water soluble vitamins. The efficiency of digestion and absorption of food is also an important factor. If a person is deficient, then they would have higher or greater bioavailability because the body is now in a state of higher demand. Whereas if a person have normal levels or excess, then that will affect the bioavailability of new. If it is natural versus synthetic, we know that natural, because it is combined with various precursors or foods that aid its digestion and absorption, then bioavailability of natural vitamins is going to be better than synthetic. And fat soluble vitamins are generally less bioavailable than water soluble vitamins. Vitamins from animal foods are said to be more generally bioavailable than those in plant foods. But again, if you consume the right plant foods, um, you will still have great bioavailability. As was mentioned earlier, there are some factors that can affect the bioavailability of vitamins. If they're exposed to air, if they're exposed to UV light or ultraviolet light, water can affect the bioavailability of the nutrients. Changes in the pH, so acidic pH damages your vitamins. Heat damages your vitamin. And again, food preparation technique, which is like leaching or ultra high temperatures, that might affect your vitamins. However, the fat soluble vitamins tend to be more stable than your water soluble vitamins. And finally, let us talk a little bit about toxicity. Vitamin toxicity, also known as hypervitaminosis, although it is rare, it is something that is seen, particularly with your fat soluble vitamins, and it usually comes about from having tissue saturation due to excess consumption of vitamins, and usually this is in the form of supplements. So people who are taking supplements, it can damage the cell, particularly if the amount is higher than what is known as the tolerable upper intake limit, which is the highest amount of a particular vitamin that can be consumed without seeing some adverse effects. There are some vitamins that are referred to as provitamins or preformed vitamins, and provitamins are particularly substances found in food that are not in a form directly usable by the body, but when they go into the body, they are converted to the active form of the vitamin once absorbed. And preformed vitamins are vitamins found in food in their active form. So vitamin A is one example. We talk about retinol, or we talk about um, beta carotene, which are our active forms. We talk about vitamin D, which we know. We talk about uh, calcidiol versus calcitriol. So we talk about these different forms. So preform, in their active form in food. Provitamins, these that are not in their active form, but once absorbed, they go into their active form. So just to recap, vitamins are essential. They're vital to life. They are needed in small amounts for growth, reproduction, and preserving health. They are classified based on their solubility into fat soluble and water soluble. And there are some things that we can do, like heating them to high temperatures can destroy them. Mega doses of any vitamin, whether it be water or fat soluble, can be toxic. Finally, there are some antioxidants, and these include, for example, vitamin E, C, selenium, flavonoids, and carotenoids. While selenium is not a vitamin, it's more of a mineral. These antioxidants are important in that they neutralize the effect of free radicals and counter oxidation that takes place in the cell. And oxidation in the cell usually results in damage to that area of the cell. So think about the cells in the heart. If those undergo oxidation, there can be some form of ischemia. There are some byproducts of the body metabolic reactions. So that's your free radical, that's where they come from. And so things like smoking can activate that. Things like stress can activate that. And what happens is that the antioxidant helps to prevent that by replacing or repairing the oxygen molecule rather, that has been damaged by oxidation. So there are some antioxidants that are important in the fight against cancer, so phytochemicals like carotenoids and flavonoids. And these come from the diet and are best from the diet as opposed to from supplements. And they are usually important in preventing diseases, but also can be used as a form of management of diseases. So, if we want to reduce oxidative stress and free radical damage, then we want to include our antioxidants, and we get those primarily from fruits and vegetables. Similarly, here are some sources of vitamins from the USDA, that's the United States Department of Agriculture. And so you can see where that if you get most of these from fruit and vegetables, there is no need to get them in supplement.